Hello, I'm Jo. I'm from Cuttlefish Casting Silver Workshop. We're jewellers from Somerset originally, living by the sea. They wash up on the beach where we are, and it's an amazing thing. And jewellers have used this fish for a long time to cast metal, silver, gold. We just think it's a lovely thing to show people how you can make things in another way. So we sand it down so we have a nice flat area. We make a channel at the top to pour the metal into. So you carve your design into it. We put two pieces together, and then there's a pour hole at the top. Two pieces will go together like that so the metal doesn't escape. Take it over to the hearth. There's a crucible which we fill with silver, recycled spoons and forks mainly, and we'll heat that up with a blowtorch. Pour it in, cross your fingers, quench it, open it, and hopefully you'll come out with a beautiful piece. And then you take something home with you that you've made at a festival that you did from beginning to end, and that's just brilliant fun. And go away with a lovely pendant at the end of it.
I'm Andy Harris. I'm a coppersmith. I call myself a freestyle coppersmith. I suppose I'm a tinker really. I learnt my trade in Ireland. There's old techniques that would be used where you don't have power in the workshop quite often, so you have to improvise to different ways of shaping metal. And I've been coppersmithing for probably about 30 years now. I was horse-drawn for a long time. It was a trade I had on the road to make a living. It's really nice to get together with all the other tradesmen every year. Bit of a catch-up because most of us work in isolation. It's just a great thing to be able to come together as a collective of people doing something similar, really, making a living from your hands, I mean, I like the idea of being able to make a living without being a drain on resources. There's something about handcrafted goods. All society was built by craftsmen anyway.
And the wire is what's going to give it the impression. Trying to get it. Which is quite cool because it gives it a bit of a bend in the leaf, which makes it look more natural, I suppose. So
I'm making a beaten copper bangle, but it's really nice, accessible.
They all thought that there was massive healing powers in working with your hands, and if you get someone that feels isolated from society, and once they realise that they are creative, they can be creators, it does something to them, it helps them, it makes them feel a bit more empowered maybe than they was before they had a go, So just on that edge there.
Okay.
That's it, good girl, you hammer away there. You've always been left-handed. Not just making something that's useful, it's the process as well. It's being creative, being a creator.
I'm David, and this is Nikki. We're from the jewellery workshop. I've been in the jewellery trade for nearly 34 years now. We thought we'd bring our skills to the Greencraft Field.
It gives a really good contrast to what's going on at the other side of the festival, I think, because everything's taken right back to basics, because all the crafts go back to their traditional sense.
It gives people an opportunity to actually find out what's involved in the finished product.
Kind of a place of refuge, isn't it? To get away from the crowds a bit more.
We use traditional bow drills for drilling holes. Basically the drill just goes up and down till it goes through the metal, and then you've got your hole.
Stick the coin, and then I've hammered with that. Then I've just doing this now.
This year we're doing silver pendants,
identity bracelet,
or silver rings. They can punch Glastonbury 2017 on it, and then bend it into a ring, and then we go to polish it on the polishing motor. They get quite excited at the end when they see it's all shiny. That's the bit that really makes it worthwhile.
I made 2 bracelets for my sister Clara and her girlfriend Michelle, who have just got engaged.
A lot more people are interested in what goes on this end than you would think would.
My name is Bill Kelly. we're a group that come from the Isle of Man all the way to Glastonbury to do pewter work. So we combine a very old technique, which is using a roller mill, with a very modern technique, laser cutting. And we combine a piece of recycled pewter, because we gather the pewter from car boot sales and fairs and things, melt it down into sheets and then recycle it into jewellery.
It's wonderful. Experience of a lifetime.
A lot of people know they're creative but have no outlet for it. And this is a sort of drop-in centre for creative people, isn't it? They can also take away something that they've made that is really good quality, and it's a souvenir, and they can keep for the rest of their lives.
So these are wraps to go around my dreads. Yeah. There's some quite nice textures on there.
Try that one there.
I like to see Is it like that last year?
Everywhere else can be mayhem, but you can always chill here.
I'm Karen, I'm from the Jewellery Workshop, and we've been coming to Glastonbury for 20 years now. We make recycled silver rings and silver pendants. We start off with strips of silver, so we've got a jewellery bench, and you initially saw the jewellery, and then from that we soften it and anneal it so that it's pliable. And after that it's a lot more hammering and a lot of polishing. There's amazing benefit. Just from having 2 hours to sort of focus on something for a start, just that kind of sit down, the relaxation, but also the opportunity to use tools, but nobody is aware of how a ring is made or the hours that goes into that. It's lovely just to spread that joy of making, really. I think making is fundamentally important, and it's nice to get back to basics. It's something quite earthy about making, and it's hammering and it's fire, and it's sweat, blood and tears. We've had lots of wedding rings made. We had one man sat down and he was going to propose. He knelt down in the mud outside and proposed outside the workshop.
I'm Simon Summers, and I specialise in a certain type of blacksmithing which relates to the Iron Age. Now what repoussé is working from both sides of the metal. We kind of look at how artefacts are made that have been dug up with mostly burials, and that's how we can tell so much about the people and their culture. And we're starting to see this beautiful metalwork which has been pushed and shunted from the back and the front, using small tools like small hammers and little tools that they've forged to get all of these beautiful shapes. It's like this object here, it's in the very early stages of repoussé. So I've begun by engraving some artwork, really lightly chasing lines in the artwork, as a flat piece of material. Then when I flip it over, I would see those lines there, and where the difference of shape can change by pushing it out from the back. And then I can use blunt tools like this to push and shunt the material from the rear. But the whole thing distorts, so then it has to go onto a stump, and then I would use chasing tools to go over my little lines of artwork that I started with. We get the definition, and we feel like it starts to come to life, and it's coming out in a 3D sort of image. If we want more depth of work, we would go onto a pitch block. This is resin from pine trees, and then it supports the work from underneath when we work on the top, and the pitch has got some give in it. Repoussé is a French word which means working from both sides. It means like pushing out from the rear and pushing down at the front, and it's like we may know it as like embossing.
Hello, I'm Julia Thompson. I design precious metal art jewellery with narrative. I'm based in Somerset, just an hour away from here. It gives them an insight into actually what goes into silver jewellery making. There's a lot of different processes. When people walk away with a ring, they're really chuffed that they've made something sparkly and shiny, but they're also really appreciative of what goes into it. It's just good for your mental health, that achievement, to be able to sit and learn a new skill and take away a piece of silver that will last, hopefully, a lifetime. So it has real meaning.
So she's polishing
the jewellery that we just made.
Traditional jewellers setup. So you've got your half moon cut out, your skin that catches all the silver dust and stones, and a bench peg where we do all the soaring. This is called a triblet. It's a ring mandrill, and we use this to measure and to shape the ring as well. We use a rawhide hammer to shape, to beat the silver ring to the triblet to shape it. This is kind of what Glastonbury stemmed out of, this ethos. I think it is the heart of the festival.
Hello, I'm Theo. We're part of Mask the Rage, which is our little group of travelling curiosities.
I'm Ruth. I'm a maker. I make some of this stuff.
We've been doing this, 15 years? I think I've been working at festivals in this format, but it's changed since when we started. Spoon making was really a prompt from people asking us to make them, and we thought, well, we could definitely do that. I've done big soup ladles right down to tiny little sort of glaze, when people are adding glazes to glass or painting or ceramics. Start off with a tiny strip of copper, which you can get from an old copper pipe. You cut it into sections, open the pipe out, so you've got your flat section. You get that red hot, which what it does, it's a process called annealing. It becomes malleable, so you've got enough time from start to finish. You've got this fairly soft, pliable piece of material that then you fold and seam, and then dish out the bowl of the spoon with a little tiny sort of, like a doming block it's called, and use a little hammer or doming punches to dome out the spoon shape. And by the time you've done all the intentional work on that piece, the metal has become case hardened, basically it's hardened again and becomes rigid enough to work.
And you can keep annealing them, so you can heat them again, make it soft again, and then work it more. So like the repoussé, which is essentially that as well, you're heating, beating, so you can get much more curves from the bowl of the spoon.
Well, I think people are just trying to come and connect.
It's hard, so you have to be really focused, but then when people do it, it's such a sense of achievement because they've really made something that is actually really quite difficult if your hands are not used to doing that. I think it's the best bit of the festival, personally.